Horizon d'Afrique, en direct du studio Thomas Sankara, où les questions africaines sont abordées sans langue de bois. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in today. This is Kwazampia African TV. We are presenting Horizon d'Afrique, a program of Kwazampia Africa TV that is especially talking about issues relating to Africa, issues that matter with the diaspora, and issues that ultimately affect the communities of Africans residing in the continent and outside of the continent of Africa. Today is a unique day, it's a special day. We are celebrating, we are paying tribute to a proud son of Africa. I'm talking about J.J. Rawlings, former president of Ghana, who passed and left us, unfortunately, on November 12th. Earlier this month. And today is a special program where we want to recognize what President J.J. Rawlings did for Ghana and for the people of Africa and throughout the diaspora as well. So today I have guests there will join me today to talk about President J.J. Rawlings and the legacy he will have left to the people of Ghana and the young people of Africa as well. Today I have my guest, Mr. Kofi Achenkpo. Mr. Kofi, you are a fellow Ghanaian residing in Omaha, Nebraska. You are also a UNL graduate, okay? How are you today? Thank you for coming, sir.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for inviting me.
Good to have you, sir. And also, I'm having my friend and contributor of Kwazampia African TV. You are a public administrator. Pierre Sagite. Pierre, how are you today?
I'm doing good by the grace of God.
Always good to have you, Pierre.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Excellent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning. I know today is a special day. We are streaming live as well on Facebook today. And we thank all of you tuning in and joining us to talk about President J.J. Rawlings. My name is Frank Tucker. Always glad to be with you here today. So let's start with this. Mr. Kofi, when it comes to President J.J. Rawlings, who unfortunately passed on November 12th, earlier this month, there is this sentiment of whether you knew him or did not know him or approve of his methods or not, you cannot undeniably say that he was not an important part of the history of Ghana. What can you tell us about that?
That is very true. Rawlings brought more life into Ghana when he came the first time. There was that kind of lax or what I would call lack of discipline in the country, particularly with the leaders of the country, the politicians, I would say.
Right.
So when Rawlings came in, he tried to instill discipline not only in the ruling class,
yes,
but the entire
the civil
masses,
society, yes,
the citizens.
Right.
Some people didn't like it, naturally,
right,
you know, because he had to put pressure on a lot of people to do the right thing.
Right.
You know,
right.
but it was good for the country.
Yes.
So, you know, we admired him for that.
Yes.
You know, of course, during his time, certain judges and other politicians
yes.
were killed, which wasn't a very nice thing, but in a revolution, those things are inevitable.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Kofi. And I'll get back to you, Pierre, with that same question. I mean, whether you liked the man or knew the man or not, but what you heard of him, you undeniably cannot say that he wasn't an important part in the history of Ghana. What do you say about that?
Well, J.J. Rawlings was a charismatic leader. He yes. was a very important part of the modern Ghana yes. today. I mean, this is a name that I would say in the 80s and 90s resonate with admiration throughout West Africa,
yes.
throughout among the youth in West Africa. Mm-hmm. Everybody would say, JJ, this is somebody that came to power with a different mindset than what was going on around the time. You know, I personally like to see him as the first Sankara. Yes. He was the first to come.
The first Sankara.
That was noticed as a different leader.
Right.
So today, you know, there is all this sadness among you know, people from Ghana and also throughout Africa. You know, people in Togo, Benin, right. Burkina. So and Ivory Coast, because everybody recognized JJ as a charismatic leader, somebody that was different.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kofi, I'll come back to you with this because as you being a fellow Ghanaian and you know, you're born in Accra, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you know a little bit more than I would when it comes to the sentiments of the people of Ghana when thinking about the rise of J.J. Rawlings in Ghana. So I'm going to put the whole story in perspective for our viewers. I mean, you know, President Rawlings was born on June, I believe June 2nd of 1947. And there's a specific time where he rose to power, or at least to spotlight in Ghana, was in, I would say, in June of 1979. So what can you tell us, you know, about the sentiments of the people of Ghana prior to Rawlings rising in Ghana? What do you think made him so appraisable by the people of Ghana when he came in? What was the sentiment there?
Now, before Rawlings,
yes,
there was a lot of hunger. People didn't have jobs, and just very few people on the top were enjoying. And by that I mean they were using the government funds and all that to better themselves.
Right.
So Rawlings was in a way compelled, because initially he was court-martialed because they said he and his clique were trying to overthrow the government.
Right, in a coup d'etat.
In a coup d'etat.
Right.
So he was sentenced to death and put in prison.
Yes.
With the other people. But then the people around him, the soldiers around him, they had more or less like a mutiny.
Yes.
In the prison. So Rawlings was let out. And when he was let out, he went straight to the Air Force in I think it was in Takoradi,
right,
the city of Takoradi.
Yeah, no, just you know, and I'll just stop there just to explain to our viewers. In fact, President Rawlings was a fabulous and a great flight Air Force soldier, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He was first in his class.
Right.
When they graduated, you know, and he did some acrobatics to prove
yes,
that point, you know. But yeah, he took the plane from the airport, the Air Force base, and then went straight to Accra. And to cut a long story short, they overthrew the government.
Right.
Okay. And they gave the government back to
the civilians.
The civilians.
Okay.
And he told them, okay, we're giving this back to you so that you can repair the damage that you've done.
Right.
But if you don't do right, we will come back.
Right.
And so he came back, you know, and stayed there for a long time. He was loved.
Right.
I should say most people, because some people didn't.
Right. Now, let me say this, interjecting into that part of his life. One aspect, and at least comments that we often hear when it comes to President J.J. Rawlings, is that he was able to win the admiration of the people of Ghana because he always knew how to respond to the mood of the people of Ghana at the time. Was that accurate, though?
That is very accurate.
Okay.
And like a leader, you know, most leaders, you know, they kind of stand back and give orders. But he was a hands-on person.
Right.
I mean, you will see JJ digging trenches, helping people in the farm.
Right.
Even in the marketplace, he made very good friends. I mean, he didn't prove himself like, hey, I'm the leader, so you got to look up to me.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So he was admired by a lot of people, especially the youth.
Right.
You know.
Right, ultimately. Now, you know, Ghana clearly today is one of Africa's more stable democracy. And would you say that, Mr. President Rawlings would have been a pioneer to stabilizing democracy in Ghana?
Definitely, definitely. And Rawlings could have stayed in power for as long as he wanted.
Right.
But he didn't want to be, in fact, one of his videos, he said he really didn't want to be president, but he just wanted the politicians to do the right thing for the people.
Okay.
So at the time, I think, I forgot the year,
Yes.
he decided that, okay, it's time for civilian rule. So he put down his military uniform
Yes.
and then ran for president.
As a
which he
civilian.
won, as a civilian.
Right.
You know, and there's even a picture with him and the Pope, Pope John Paul.
Pope John Paul.
When instead of military uniform, he had civilian clothes.
Right,
And he
right.
looked sharp too.
Yes, he was indeed a very sharp man. So Pierre, I'll get to you with this because there's always been this likeliness, or at least to you know, when assessing leadership in Africa, there's always been this likeliness of identifying President Rawlings and you know, Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. So what can you say about that? Were the two men that close? Were they strategically, you know, friends to, you know, did they decide to just, you know, change the narratives of, you know, African politics in that time together, or was it just, you know, coincidence of their time?
No, I think.
Was that a movement being built by these two men?
No, I think these two men came from a different breed.
Right.
They were different. They identified. They knew what the aspiration of the people were.
Right.
They knew what African people, what the nation needed.
Right.
And they were just in quest of making sure that they delivered. Now, these two, if you look at them physically, compared to the other leaders at that time, physically they were different. They were
Right.
fit. And
Right.
if you remember the pictures of JJ, he was a fit guy. I mean,
Yes.
Now, Sankara was the same.
He definitely was a good-looking man.
They looked very fit. Yeah. Now, around that time, if you look, all other leaders from other countries, most of them were not fit. They were, you know, heavy on the side. They were eating good, like we say. Right? Now,
Right.
But the focus of those two leaders were on the people. They were people of the trenches.
Right.
They weren't afraid to get their hand dirty.
Yes.
Right. So they would go and dig with people.
With the people.
I mean, they would work manually, but with people. So they weren't afraid of doing that. So that makes them different. They were two leaders that were ahead of their time.
Right.
Now, I hear you talk, ask our guest here, Mr. Kofi, if JJ have a power into what Ghana, into putting
Stability
Ghana,
of Ghana's democracy.
Absolutely. I think JJ, let's not be afraid of saying it, should be given credit.
Yes.
For a lot of what is happening in Ghana right now as good. Because let's face it, you look around Ghana and
Yes.
you can see easily that JJ managed to put this country on the right path. Ghana was a great nation before and was in the verge of losing that. But Ghana
Collapsing completely.
and JJ was quick to bring Ghana back into
its
the
former
right
glories.
path, into
Right.
the destiny, which is to be a great nation.
Right.
Right. He was a great man indeed. So, I mean, clearly, I'm sure that there would have been some critics of Rawlings. What would you say would be the most, pregnant critics against Rawlings' terms as president in Ghana?
Anytime you have somebody who is enforcing discipline,
Yes.
obviously there are other people who wouldn't like it.
Right.
You know, you had people who had obtained grants from the government to build roads and other infrastructure,
Right.
and they weren't doing their job. So when Rawlings came in, he gave them ultimatum: you got to do this, or you go to jail.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. There was a guy called J.O. Mensah. J.O. Mensah was a contractor, road construction contract. He was given grant, and it so happened that J.O. Mensah belonged to a prayer group
Right.
that all of us did, including my dad.
Right.
So when the ultimatum came, Joe knew he was in trouble. So he came to my dad to go and intercede on behalf of him so he could finish the job,
Right.
which he did. That's just one example of out of many.
Right.
So yes, JJ instilled some kind of discipline among the people in Ghana, and we loved it because we needed that.
Yes. I mean, clearly, you know, we can all agree that Africa has definitely lost a proud son, a true leader, a man with a high level of integrity. Do you think that this type of breed will come back to Africa at some point, clearly?
I would never say never,
Right.
but it's going to be a long shot.
Long shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, again, just before I answer this particular question, I wanted to piggyback on what our guests have said. JJ was a man that was against corruption.
Yes.
He hated corrupted leaders. And he was able to see how much corruption was infecting the political structure of Ghana.
Yes.
And he was on a mission to get rid of that.
Right.
And I think he did. I mean, he may not have got rid of it totally, but he put Ghana somewhere where, from outside, you can trust.
Absolutely.
The
He
top
made shine the
structure.
black star.
Right.
Right.
But in terms of coming back to your question, if we have a leader like this, let's face it, people like J.J. Rawlings, people like Thomas Sankara, what they left us the most is that inspiration.
Yes.
So now we're going to have a lot of JJs.
Right.
You know, we're going to have a lot of Sankaras because the African youth was able to see that this is the kind of leader that we want.
Right.
This is the kind of leader that this continent, our countries need.
Right.
And that's what we're going to go over. I mean, anybody, any leaders will have a legacy where, I mean, let's face it, you can't please everybody.
Right.
Okay? Especially those who love corruption, obviously, like our guest said, would not be pleased.
Right.
But it's all about a nation. It's all about the nation of Ghana. Overall, do we think JJ left a good legacy? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's why we're here talking about him today.
Right.
And in part of us, each one of us, there is a little bit of JJ Rawlings, where we wanna be able to stand out against corruption.
Right. Right. Interestingly. I mean, clearly, and I don't think I could have said it any better than you did. We are all a part of J.J. Rawlings' legacy, and we really hope that, you know, the generations of young African leaders can look back into this man, you know, and look at his legacy and identify themselves somehow into it. So let's get closer to ending this by asking this question. I mean, I know Ghana very soon will be going through presidential elections, right? So do you think this passing of President Rawlings and taking also into account that his wife was actually one of the candidates, do you think that somehow will have a play in the outcomes of those elections, you think?
It's very difficult to say.
Right.
Yeah, it's very difficult. We have a government that for some reason is not playing fair. I hate to say this,
Right.
but it has to be known, you know, and there are a lot of things. In fact, JJ himself, before he passed, he said Ghanaians should be very, very vigilant about politicians.
Yes.
Indirectly, he was talking about the current government
Yes.
and whichever government was going to come
Afterwards,
that,
yes.
you know. But we do pray that, you know, there is a smooth election,
Yes.
and that whoever wins, you know, and whoever wins, you know, do the best for the country.
Right.
Because we need that right now.
Right.
The corruption is coming up again,
It's coming back. Okay.
you know, which is not good for the country.
Absolutely.
And I would just want to add one thing with what
Sure.
my friend said about Sankara. Sankara and JJ were friends. I don't know if you knew that.
They were very good friends.
Very good friends.
I didn't know this,
And and JJ named an avenue in the name of Sankara. So
In Ghana?
In Accra, yes.
Okay.
So when you go to Accra someday,
Yes.
you know, there is the Sankara Circle.
Wow.
Sankara, that's how close they were.
They were. Impressive. Impressive. Well, I mean, clearly, you know, time is of essence, and we want to make sure we hit all that has to be said about President J.J. Rawlings. I mean, but besides his, you know, presidency and him as a leader in Ghana, in Africa, he was a very simple man. The level of his integrity and cultural simplicity of this man is one that we cannot let aside talking about. What can you tell us about him as a man?
Yeah, he behaved just like a common person.
Right.
You know, even though he had wielded a lot of power, he behaved like a common person. He was very generous, very likable, very friendly, very funny.
Right.
I have a video that JJ, I think they threw a party for him. I don't know when that took place.
Yes.
But JJ was dancing. I'll show it to you after this.
Right.
JJ was dancing.
He had a great sense of humor.
Oh, yes, he had a great sense of humor. And the wife was also there, and they were dancing together. And everybody was clapping.
Yes. He was definitely a man of the people.
Oh, man of the people, yeah. That's
Pierre?
Definitely.
Well, I think he's right. JJ was, you see, the common ground between somebody like a leader like Sankara and JJ is those people, those leaders were not interested in staying in power or accumulating wealth. So they were simple. They were just, you know, the common citizen above all. But you see, for us, JJ legacy should resonate where we as African diaspora
Yes.
or African youth should now put more emphasis, pay more attention on corruption, on making sure that corruption does not become a cancer in our countries. Now, our guests talk about the current government and maybe the rise of corruption or some way, and sure, he's in a better position to see that. Now, for me or other people from outside, we also want to give a shout out to the current government, because I mean, again, from outside, what I see is they are doing also a tremendous job to make sure that Ghana remain resonant. This policy of returning back to Africa, it's a huge success.
Yes.
And I want to congratulate the government
Absolutely.
for having the audacity
Right.
to implement something like that, to inviting us back to our roots.
I think Pierre, it's a very interesting point that you just brought out there, that, you know, Ghana needs to be recognized for that. I mean, Ghana has always been a beacon, and, you know, in calling and providing opportunities for Africans across the diaspora. I mean, African Americans a lot have been looking back, and Ghana has been a very welcoming land. I believe they have groups of African Americans that actually moved back to Ghana and have accepted the country as their own as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of them.
To add to what you said, the name of the going back protocol is called Sankofa.
Yes.
Sankofa in our Akan language is going back to take what belongs to you.
Right.
So a lot of people, just like you said, a lot of, even Bob Marley's mother lives in Ghana. She's been living there for a long time.
Right.
And so are some of the celebrities from this country who have built houses. There was a guy whom I knew from Omaha.
Yes.
I forgot his name. He came to me, this is about 20 years ago. He said, I'm going to Ghana and I'm going to build a house. And he did.
And he did.
So it's a joyous Sankofa, if you will, for people to go back and help.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of this special tribute to President J.J. Rawlings, a proud son of Africa, a figure that generations of Africans today will not cease to recall and remember as somebody who will have changed the face of politics, the structure of politics in Ghana, and hopefully throughout Africa as well. We mourn with the people of Ghana. We celebrate the life of President J.J. Rawlings. And until we see you again, ladies and gentlemen, I had Mr. Kofi Achengpong of Omaha, Nebraska. Thank you again for being with us today.
Welcome.
All right, and always, Pierre, thank you so much for being with us, okay?
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was Horizon d'Afrique, where we talk about the questions of Africa. without barriers. Thank you, and next time. Horizon d'Afrique, en direct du studio Thomas Sankara, où les questions africaines sont abordées sans langue de bois.